Hey folks, just want to tell you about our trip at Toledo this week and give you a couple tips about catching fish in the fall. Toledo Bend, Rayburn, a lot of the lakes around our area, the bass are keying in on shad right now. There's a couple of key techniques that will help you have great trips during this time, this fall feeding frenzy. So the first thing that I did was go find some shad. It's a little difficult to not wet a line to try to find the fish. But by far, your most efficient use of time is going to be spent in the cockpit behind your side imaging, finding those schools of shad. Even if you can't figure out if there's bass on them or not, if there's shad there, you see those big light colored clouds on your side scan, stop, there's going to be bass around it. But you'll see right now a key indicator is the bigger spots down below those clouds, or you'll see the big white spots out on the side on the bottom of your side scan. But your down scan can be really useful as well. Also your 2D sonar, you'll see those big arcs below what just looks like a big cloud. That's bass. So a couple different ways we used to catch them this week. First, and maybe one of the funnest, is the good old Alabama rig. I've got the Duckett baits subtle tail on them. One key is to always put, if you're not going to put like all white, which is a great option, but one thing that I like to do is to put a different color in the middle. So I've got this slightly darker, more translucent shad. It was sunny most days on the 4 outside hooks, and then I've got a white one with a white head on the inside. I had silver lead heads. These are also yellow head jig heads. They're made here in Sulphur, and they are super, super tough. They're made for redfish actually, so they don't bend. You don't want to throw them in timber because you're going to break off, because these hooks don't bend. But if you like to set the hook really hard, and if you want to make sure that the bass are going to come off, those yellowhead jigs are a good option. Another thing here is these Evolve rod sleeves work perfect. I don't leave rod sleeves on my deck at all, but I do it on the Alabama rigs because it keeps it from making a mess. Another fun thing to do if you like to crank is we use the DD300. It's a 6 cents crankbait. So that's like a 10 to 12 foot diving. One key during the fall is to have multiple depths of crankbaits out on your deck. So when the fish were a little deeper, went to the DD500, which dives way down. I think it's down around 20, 22 feet, something like that. I'm running 12-pound Seagar InvisX fluoro on these. If I'm throwing in a lot of timber, I may switch to a InvisX, but this is done really well. The lighter fluoro that you're comfortable with, the deeper it'll help those go down. All of our big fish this week, we had multiple over 4, 5, and even a couple over 6, all came off of cranking. But by far the funnest bite that I got into this week was on the jigging spoon. This is a 1 ounce jigging spoon. I graphed, I guess it was Friday morning, for a solid 3 hours. I covered a lot of water and didn't drop a line because I couldn't find the shad. When I finally found them, I found a school of bass. They were holding onto this one particular stump. I spot locked, and I literally just drop it straight down. It's kind of like white perch fishing. So I would just free spool it and let it drop. The key is having a really sensitive rod. This is the Duckett 7'3" medium heavy black ice. Super, super sensitive blank. I was keeping my hands on the blank itself and right next to the line because the bass were hitting it on the fall every time. I'll have some videos up here soon showing some of those. There's a lot of little ones, but it was a ton. It was like 39, 40, something like that and I caught all these fish within 30, 45 minutes because I found one super thick school. But these jigging spoons are super fun. One trick that you'll learn, one of the guide services here locally, Bent Rods guide service. If you don't follow them and you want some really good tips on Toledo and Rayburn, you need to give them a follow, because this is one thing that I learned from these guys. Chrome on sunny days, white on cloudy days. That absolutely makes a difference. They want that flash. The fun thing is I never knew it was going to come up. I caught largies, I caught spots, I caught yellow bass, I caught white bass, nearly back to back to back, just dropping it straight down. Again, you got to free spool it to let it fall, and I could see them on live scope coming up and attacking it. So crankbaits, Alabama rig, jigging spoon. I can normally catch them we did catch a couple on top water, up shallower when they'd get the shad pushed up. I can normally catch them on flutter spoon this time of year. We didn't have a lot of luck this week, but that's what we used. So next time you go out, try those, and hope you had a good Thanksgiving and a happy holidays.